And are we back? We're back. Okay. So, folks, this is where I'll switch it back to the proper mic audio. You will have just been listening to shitty audio for a minute. The computer shut off because I forgot to plug it in when I came to the studio. Wow.
It happens.
Yeah,
You know?
it happens. It happens. Hey, do you like Philip Seymour Hoffman?
I know the name, but not too.
That's him.
But tell me about him.
He's an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And many say that he, aside from who's that? What's that? Daniel Day-Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from Daniel Day-Lewis, they say that Philip Seymour Hoffman is the most talented actor ever. Have you ever seen him in any movies?
I don't think I have.
No?
Name some of his movies.
So, well, Capote is a pretty good one that I have only seen a few times, but I want to watch it a few more times. I got this for free at a garage sale.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it had some weird signature on it. I was like, wonder who signed that.
Maybe it's Capote.
Yeah, and oh man, dude, just he has some movies that are so good. Like they're all indie type films. You know, they're not really like
like
you know,
AAA blockbuster kind of.
yeah, they're
movies,
not they're not triple X like that film. That's a big blockbuster film, or like anything made by who's that really stylish director?
There's like Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, he's got good style. But the guy who they say, hey, this guy's all style, no substance. They critique him for that.
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay, yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Fuck, we're getting a little smoky. I'm gonna scoop up a few of these pieces of wood so we don't get too smoky.
But yeah, I would consider Michael Bay. It's more of a you don't really go to like. If you go for a movie to think about, you know, like, damn, I really want to, like, look at the plot of it, you know, I want to dissect the plot, I want to really understand what the director was going about.
Yeah.
I don't really think Michael
Bay is not that guy. Absolutely. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
100% right. So, so let's talk. So now that we're reconvening, because the last time we really had a chance to chit chat, Price the producer, it was nearly probably like 2 years ago at least.
Yeah.
So and that's literally the prime time of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So and you know, I'm sitting here without a mask, and you know, for good reason, you have at least one on, but then you happen to have two on.
Mm-hmm.
So like what give me your, and if you don't mind, just so you're really clear, if you want to put that on your lap or something, just for this part, because I'm curious.
No problem.
And you're off camera, you know, you're just in full producer mode. We have no shot. I'd like to have a shot like this, that, you know, kind of has a side view of you and like the fire. Those would be probably the two best camera angles. Yeah, but I was hoping to just get, like, what are some of your thoughts so far on? Oh, you should crack that beer and try it first before we get into some topics. Do you want to crack it now?
I will lie, I'm not going to remove the mask.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to remove the mask. That's fair. Oh, yeah, so just take that as a memento, have it after. You'll notice it's a bit too carbonated. You know how, and I don't know if this happens to drinks, like, sorry, if this means that it's old, I'm not a soda expert. But I've noticed that it was a bit too carbonated for me, like too bubbly. But there's some people who like really bubbly drinks.
I wouldn't lie, I never guessed it was carbonated, but when I saw the espresso, I was thinking more, it would have been like coffee, but yeah.
Milky and coffee, and those darks are usually more milky, but this one is very soda-y. So yeah, let me know if you like it, I guess, after.
Not a
That's
problem.
too bad. Oh, you know, but you could always like walk off and go and have a drink station over there. That's an idea. Okay, and then we'll start into your story, and we'll talk COVID for a moment.
No problem.
You're not getting too cold over there, are you?
No,
Okay.
I'm on it then.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just take a quick break with Price for him to try the beer that I gave him. It's an espresso stout from a local microbrewery here called Minhas. They are a great brewery. Really, I really love their stuff. Not as good as Busch, of course, because Busch just is. It's a cleaner, filtered taste for sure. But you know, for a microbrewery, Minhas is so cheap. Like, you get a 24 pack of those for $29. That's as cheap as you can get in Saskatchewan. Or really, I think anywhere in fucking, you can't get cheaper than that. If you're doing cheaper than that, you're not making any money on your beer, for fuck's sakes. You're just trying to get rid of old shit. And they have that price all the time. So, what did you think? Was it pretty carbonated?
I see.
And when you opened it, did it fizz up
It
quite a
did.
bit? That's what I'm saying, right?
So, I see what you mean when it says it's very carbonated.
Yeah,
I find the coffee does complement that a bit.
it does.
I'm a fan of the taste though. I do like that.
Yeah, nice taste. It's refreshing, you know. But if you're gonna have 3 of them, dude, you'll be fucking burping all evening. It's too carbonated, in my opinion. So anyway, back to the main topic. By the way, that we'll just talk about something. This is like shop talk for 1 second. I stretched that. Like, well, how I'll topic off onto something else. Like, I'll do that all the time because these have to be long. That's their point. A lot of times it feels awkward talking in a podcast like this because it feels so drawn out. Like you feel like you're talking to your grandpa almost, you know? But that's kind of the style. That's what it is. So anyway, so we were talking COVID and I was hoping to get my temporary producer's opinion because as I was saying before, we had all kinds of technical issues. Here we are for episode 41, by the way. Corona is a thing that's been happening to the world for the past 3 years. It's been talked to death by me and everybody else. And anybody coming to this, you'll be coming. Although anybody coming to this, you'll be coming potentially a few years after the fact that this content was made. So maybe this will be a token subject. So that's why I try to definitely hammer it all the time. Because anybody who watches will want to know, hey, what's this new guy's thoughts on the big thing that just happened? Because like really, it is like our war in a way. I mean, people are dying. It's perceived that people are dying in a way that wasn't always happening. So people are dying. People are at odds, and angry. People are fighting in grocery stores because of their political views and this and that. That type of stuff happens during wartime. So you can draw parallels between what's going on, and even though this is not nearly as bad, I'm not gonna. I can give us modern people some credit. What are we called? We're called postmodern humans now, I guess.
Yeah.
But when can you really call it? You can't really ever. It keeps moving, that term. So you can't ever really label yourself instantaneously as a postmodern person. But that's what we are, really. That's what we are. So, yeah. So you've got 2 masks on. I've got no masks on. Particularly, I think you have them on because I know that you were talking a little bit about, and this is for everybody, we're during the Omicron period of the different variants, which is the 3rd variant, which is supposed to be the one that is done with. But I think he had some exposure and maybe had it or had a friend test positive for it. So he's more or less probably doing that for me because so do you have it right now?
I'm not too sure.
Not sure. He's not sure. So that's, by the way, I'll talk over you too sometimes.
That's not a problem.
So anyway, so Corona times are upon us. And so what, I don't want to leave it too broad for you. So like, and you were staying in the east of Canada for a little while?
Yep.
Yep.
I was staying in Ontario.
And it's pretty serious over there. Lots of people, highly populated.
Yep.
Dense population. So what was it like being around other people over there? So you I'm not trying, because a lot of times that happens, people who aren't used to interviews or even just talking in a recorded fashion, they always think somebody's, you're trying to do a gotcha or something. Not that. Just talk about other people, talk about what you've experienced.
Oh, yeah.
It has nothing to do with you particularly. So like, what was it like for you in Toronto and so far in Corona?
I could tell you about the 2 times that I was in Ontario.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Back in 2019, when I first went to Ontario, I stayed in London. And that was since it was 2019, it was more or less the peak of when everything was now starting. So a lot of places were shut down. So you didn't really see people much on the streets. Everyone was just very to themselves. So if we ever went to the grocery store hours were limited. They only allowed a certain amount of people in the store, so it was it was more controlled.
Yeah. Pretty much the same as here. Pretty much so far.
And it was just like that for about 6 months.
So how did you feel about that? Like, let's say the time constraints part of it. Do you think, did that ever annoy you? It doesn't really matter, though. I mean, you can work around it, hey?
You just worked around it. It was, if they only allowed from...
We'll keep narrowing in to things that eventually you can't work around. Like, let's say, vaccines, masks, we'll work our way there.
Yeah.
But like, the time limits and that type of stuff, that's all fine. And I like that people are washing their hands like crazy and washing everything.
Yeah.
Dude, because I'm OCD. Like, I'm super clean. I wash my hands insane. Like they're slightly discolored, to be honest with you. Like I have, you know how there's people who have OCD? Like I think that everybody has some sort of a mental disorder of some sort, whether it be minor, whether it be just addictions. Most people have addictive, it's just addictions.
Yeah.
And gluttonous, addictive tendencies. And then they put it on the most common things: food, gambling, you know, whatever. And they get fat. That's most people. Mine is I have OCD, kind of, but it's not like a debilitating type, you know. So anyway, I've been like kind of learning more about that, and just like kind of really realizing that, you know,
kind of like a self journey kind of thing.
Yeah, in a way, I think everybody's on their own. Whether they, you know, some people are aware of it and some people aren't. And I think the more aware of it you are, the better off you are.
Oh yeah, because you just learn more about yourself.
Yeah. I've got this friend. I don't want to go too far off on my triple tangent here, but so I forget what we're talking about. But I have this friend who's talking. He's really obsessed with this exact thing, which is like decision matrices. Ooh. And I think he's a little in his head because he's having a kid. A lot of my different friends are having kids, so nobody out there will know who I'm talking about. But he's really into decision making right now, decision matrices, and like, the train of thought is fizzling out.
Is it like, let's say if he has to make choice A and choice B, he goes over every single possibility before he would make that choice?
For sure. Yep. But what were we talking about kind of just before that would connect it to me and you? I forgot why I brought him up.
Well, we were talking about COVID. We were talking about, I lost train of thought as well.
It's okay. It's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
We'll get it. We will get it.
Talking about,
yeah. And we're like how you go into a grocery store and those times were okay. And then there's things you can't get past like masks and vaccines.
You're telling me about the OCD, how you wash your hands.
Boom, we got it. We were talking about disorders and how everybody has disorders, and my hand washing and decision matrices. And I have this one buddy who's obsessed with, and he is German. So, and I don't know what that means to you. Give yourself German? 10 years, because I know you're a little younger than me, but he's German. And so he's got this decision matrix that he thinks is perfect.
Ooh.
He thinks everybody should think like this in this way.
Oh,
he's making a board game. He's making a board game to try to help other people to understand this decision process that he thinks everybody should know. To the point where he literally has said to me that he thinks that it's going to be huge. We made a bet. We made a $1,000 bet.
Oh wow!
And I gave him 4-1. So if I lose, I owe him $4,000. But he thinks this board game idea of his is going to become a world sensation. And I was like, Brady, oh fuck! I just said his name.
You can bleep it out.
Fuck. We're at 18 minutes on the second video. Okay, I'm gonna bleep that out. So he was talking about his board game, and he was like, this is going to be a world sensation, and I bet him. I said, if it's not a world sensation in 10 years, and we did this bet, 1,000 to 4,000. Yeah, so that's what's happening there with this it's a weird board game idea. Because he's German, that's why I think he thinks that this decision matrix idea of his, everybody should think like that, but he's leaving out individualism. It's so ignorant. It's ignorant.
I was going to ask, where does free will come into play? Like, let's say if everyone thinks like that, it's just...
I know, exactly. And he would be able to explain it. Like but the problem is and I refute it so much because it's great if you can explain it. It's because you are potentially a smart, technical thinking German person.
Yeah.
You know, brain capacities are different. Like people aren't going to be able to grasp something that complex. They have their own decision matrix. That's exactly where free will comes in. Like I get what you're saying for sure. All of that. Another thing I was going to tell you about was I was betting. Do you watch MMA fights at all?
Every now and again.
I was watching last weekend. There was the big heavyweight fights in Ngannou and Gain. Pretty sweet, dude. There was. Oh, I already told you the joke about it. If you ever see anybody with. Oh no, I said that to somebody else. If you ever see anybody with the last name Nurmagomedov, just bet on them, and you're gonna win. So yeah, I made $600 this weekend.
Congrats!
Just betting on the fights. But but the thing is I'm down, and I'll always be honest because I'm a poker serious player. I've been doing sports betting a little bit. I'll be honest. I have full investments into sports betting right now. Are $1,500. Not counting before. I had a couple wins from before. Those are since I've started keeping track. I had a couple wins. I'm up for most, but I'm trying to leave those out.
Yeah.
I'm in 1,500 right now, and I'm only at, on my account I'm at 800. So I'm technically down 700 right now, but I'm gonna try and climb my way back up. The
It's the
weekend
grind.
of the Dustin Poirier.
I'm not
You
familiar with
know the
that.
name? Oh, you don't even know the name, eh? That's okay. I'm in my own echo chamber, so sorry. You're not as into MMA as me. That's totally fine. The Dustin Poirier weekend, it was recent. He was fighting a South American guy, Oliveira. And I bet on a couple of different fights on that one. And I bet a little too big. I bet so that was where I chopped myself down to 200, and now I'm building back up. But I'm just keeping it within the realm of fun right now. The sports betting is fun, but there has to be some money there for it to be even worth doing. You know, so yeah, little ups and downs on my MMA bets. Decision matrices. Everybody has a disorder. Just working my way backwards here, and then back to COVID, and what it was like in the East versus the West. Fucking. So do you feel the most comfortable and safe with the current variant? Because what has been your influx of information for hearing about what this variant is like? What are you thinking about it?
So for Omicron, I just want to say I'm not a medical profession, so don't take
Sure.
my word as law and
Sure,
shit like that.
for sure. I think anybody watching this knows this is it's called Canadian Talk. I'm a Canadian person talking. I have the training I have. This is just meant to be for commentary purposes and education. But you take education is something that you take in yourself and process. We're not acting as any type of a licensed professional here.
Before I just
Continue.
get into that, I like how you explain that, because I know there's a lot of people, not gonna point fingers but I know a lot of people is like, oh my god, is he talking about that?
Crazy. They think that their opinion is the Bible or is the
And they
is
just
the way.
go wholehearted with it, and
it's
they
crazy.
just
It's crazy. You always have to remember that you're just a small piece. You can earn a position of leadership, but where we are right now, and where most people are, because if you're not a leader, if you're a leader, you're a leader. You have to earn that place first.
Yeah.
You can't just presume that position. You gotta earn that.
Yeah.
That's what elected is.
But my thought. So with Omicron, I just heard it's not as deadly. It's just more contagious. With that, you need a booster. With that, especially when that's going on for 3 years now, I feel especially a lot with I only speak about my experiences, but especially in Trinidad, everyone's just sick of it. When I say sick of it, country's been on lockdown for a while. It's just
Sick of it in Trinidad, eh?
because you can't have the country locked down for how many, it was about 8 months. Country's been on lockdown, 6 months or something like that now.
Yep,
I would say
yep.
when the country was in lockdown, I was in Canada, so I wasn't there for the bulk of it, but it was when I still
Well, it was probably on lockdown even worse back then.
100%,
because
yeah.
we've been becoming less scared.
And I feel it's time. It's whether, if you're vaccinated, whether you're not vaccinated, that is, you can't keep, how on, I don't know if all of Ontario is it, but just the major, the GTA area, it's on lockdown. You can't just keep going into lockdown, going out of lockdown, going back into lockdown. You can't keep doing that. It's ruining lives, ruining businesses. Just keep it open. At this point, especially, it's been enough time, this is just my opinion, it has been enough time where if you're vaccinated, if you're not vaccinated, you've made your choice, open back up the public, whatever happens, happens. You can't tell people, you cannot control people and tell them, you need to do this, you need to do that. It all comes back to free will. Now, I have my personal beliefs about COVID and how it is, but especially, I'm just repeating myself at this point, but it's been 3 years.
No, it's okay. Keep going. Let's repeat yourself, and it'll be more clear the second time. Keep going.
It's just been too long at this point. Just open everything back up. Leave it like that. I'm not saying oh my god, is he saying that people should die? I'm not saying people should die. And that's the last thing I don't want people to die. You just can't prevent it at this point. People might say, if you take the vaccine, you can prevent it. That is true. Some people, now then you'll have people that would say, if you take the vaccine, some people that take the vaccine, they still get COVID and they die. That's fair. Some people that take that, and then there's people who don't take the vaccine and they get COVID that's die. That's fair. There's no right answer to say that's 100% right.
Okay, let me interject. I'll just interject, and then we'll see if you find another jump off point. We'll keep talking about COVID a little more.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, at this point, so none of us can say that we know what to do. And there is no right thing to do. People die, people live. This, and I've said this on previous podcasts and in quote posts. So everybody knows my opinion on this. If you follow me at all for the past week, there's no right answer. And I'm sorry, I've got so many thoughts at once. I'm just trying to pick which one I want to put right here. You know, like, and this damn fire, it heats you up. So yeah, let's slow it down, because I like to slow these down for a second too, because like I was saying that, like, well, that we don't know the answer. People die, people live. Oh, I was talking about how I talk about taboo topics, and right now this is in fact the most taboo topic. So I want to slow it down entirely, spread it out so that it's no longer taboo. It's just because when you talk about the intersection, because right now we're calling it corona, we have to talk about language first and how it changes over time, and it's just words. Obesity has been a thing that has been a big issue. It's been killing people for, many would say, for a long time, forever, but for, like, it's been in the media, and it's been something we've had a word for 50 years, 80 years, a while, but for sure for like 2010, as we get into closer to now, there's a fitness movement. That type of stuff is going on. People know that obesity is bad. People know that obesity can lead to diabetes, can lead to death. That's been happening. It's been happening. We got this new thing now, this new word, coronavirus. Is it killing people at as fast of a rate as diabetes or obesity? No, it's not. Do people who have obesity and diabetes die often from COVID? Yes. So what you have there is an intersection point that is the most taboo thing ever right now in current medical media discussion. The intersection of COVID and obesity, and where do you hold people accountable for their own behavior and where don't you? And because COVID is really just another huge avenue that all these people who are at these doors trying to get social money, and I'm sick, I'm not worthy, I can't work, because they're fat and they can't walk or whatever. This is just they look to the left, they see this big road now that's come this way, COVID. You get COVID, you'll never have to work again if you're fat enough, and it's just, this is all very brash, by the way, folks. I'm saying this in an entertainment, comedic fashion, but it is also spliced in with facts of the real status quo right now, which isn't necessarily the status quo. Is the status quo ever acceptable? Not really. It's just the current position we're in, and I really am with you on a lot of the stuff. Like, I respect the rules when they come. Like, if you tell me a mask works, it works. I'll do the certain things on planes and things like that. But this is a weird one. I'm just gonna snipe for a second. Cool. All the broadness we were discussing, I'm just gonna snipe for a second. If somebody doesn't want to wear a mask, and I know you'll just give me your perspective on what the media has already told you to say to somebody who says this, but just really try to think about it for a second, just from a human perspective. If masks work, and God, I know that you could have any buzz phrase. Oh, they work in one direction, not the other, and who knows? If masks fucking work, the people who don't want to wear them, why can't they just not wear them? Is this mask, you're telling me, because if the mask works in this direction, it's got to also work in this direction. I mean, the fluids in the air, or the vapors that you're afraid of, they become less powerful when they're floating around in the air. So if your mask is working from the inside to keep yours from getting to other people, then the other people's stuff who's in the air, it's weaker. It comes and it hits the front of yours. Like, how scientific are we going to get to the point where we're going to pretend that they don't work in both directions? Like, so that's a perspective. I'm not saying that's my perspective. I'm not saying, hey, I think anti-maskers should be right and they should just have to not wear it. I'm just saying, though, that where is the evidence? Where's the real talk about why? Because, too, how uncommon. You would have people who aren't wearing masks. It should be uncommon. So why don't we just let them be, like we have let people sit in their houses and get to 600 pounds? Why don't we just let them be? You know, so because they should technically be more at risk to the vapors than you. In terms of a hierarchy, it's a breakage. It's almost like, I don't like it because I like science, but they're using science against the public in a way. That's what I see COVID as. It's almost like a war, but the missiles, dude, I love coming up with quotes like this in long conversations. It's like a war, but the missiles are little science words that people don't understand. So it basically, it turns you into a clueless idiot, no matter what, right? Like, how many people, like, most people, Corona beer has been everywhere for forever. But if you ask the person, hey, what does the word Corona mean? The definition of the word Corona. Do you know how many people would have not known it?
Yeah.
Before the previous 3 years. I knew it from some science stuff, and I knew that it was some sort of a propagating circle. And so I kind of knew it, but I don't know it as well as I know it now. Lost my train of thought. But just like Corona and I want some beer. That's what it is. Let's take a break for a second here. Just pause for a second. We're at a raw 30 minutes. The thing is, too, dude, is because the computer shut off. I was thinking about this while I was talking there, while you were talking, doing your rant. We will lose the high quality recording because the computer shut off unless it auto saved somewhere, which I can check for, but it's unlikely. You know, I don't know, but maybe it auto saved. I can check in some couple of folders, but it's likely that we lost that first 10 minutes, which is no big deal. Most of it was me, right? I bet you that shut off like 5 minutes after you came, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Wasn't too
so
long.
we didn't even lose much, and we got 30 minutes of material in here already. So
perfect. See, silver lining.
yeah. What was I just going to talk about? Thought I had something and I lost it.
We were going on the maskers. If it went this way, it can come back this way.
Yeah. But it was
You're talking about how.
Oh, I was slowing. Okay, I've got it. I got it. Thank you very much. I've got it. So like yeah, so I wanted to slow it down because we just went on a pretty decent little rant there about Corona. Just wanted to break it up for a second because, again, want to reiterate, this needs to be done. That, you know, this isn't an anti-vaccine podcast. This isn't an anti-mask podcast. This isn't a right-wing podcast. This is a comedy podcast and sports podcast and current events. So, yeah. So, but yeah, COVID becomes that. You're getting cold, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
I can tell. I can tell. I knew it. Got shorts on, but go bundle up, man. Oh, you know there is blankets out in here too. If it
gets a little bit more cooler, then sure. But for now, like,
yeah,
I could hold on. I'll surprise.
Yeah. Also, there's wood. Like if you wanted to add wood. Also, if you wanted to get a little, I'll get a little closer, because like, yeah, I don't know. You probably go closest to there, and you won't be on the camera anyway.
If need be,
you want to get your legs
a
little better. Anyway, sorry guys, sorry. Thank you all for tuning in so far for 30 minutes of the Canadian Talk podcast. Is there anybody we need to thank? I guess we want to thank Bush. Hopefully one day we do want a beer sponsor. Thank you Minhas for providing the producer with his random little stout. So yeah, but anyway, we're just sitting here in the wood shop. We got our fire going, and we're talking Corona right now. And we are trying to make sense of it. It's slowing down a lot in the world. It's not as major of an issue. A lot of people are becoming more chill about it. When we were comparing obese people to anti-maskers, and when do you draw the line to just leaving them alone, you know? And it's impossible to know. We're not saying we know where to draw the line, but eventually, I guess we may have to make a decision on that. You know, because.
How do you feel when they make that decision? Because you know it's not going to cater to everyone.
Exactly, right? Exactly. It's weird when a decision has to be made of it. That's why I don't love it, because you add that face aspect where you're creating a new compulsory piece of clothing. And it's like, to take that away, it's tough because you've got it. It's such a partisan issue. 50% of the people love it and 50% of the people hate it. Like, really, dude. Down the line, I know it feels like more people are pro-mask. But actually, it really, really does come down to 50. If you get down to it, 50-50. Like it always is when it comes to giving freedoms and taking freedoms. Some people like it, some people don't. So, but somebody who is going to be able to make the decision to take masks away, Like, we're going to have some sort of a propaganda campaign. I call it propaganda because you'd have to tell the public, hey guys, you're safe now. When technically the reality is, dude, this coronavirus stuff, little colds and flus that attack either the stomach or the liver or the lungs, or it always has existed. There's every year there's a new flu. So it's just, it's a propaganda campaign in the sense that you'll have to tell the people, hey, don't worry anymore, when technically you should always worry. You should always be exercising. You should always be trying to not be obese or not take in too much bad stuff that will weaken your kidneys, liver, heart, because at any given moment, a new disease can come up that could target that. And right now, it just so happens. And I'll give you a little more info on my perspective on this, because this is where marijuana intersects with it too, because it just so happens that we all of a sudden have a respiratory flu that's killing a lot of people right when everybody starts smoking pot again, and right when the taboo gets lost with pot, and old people are smoking it, and now all of a sudden we have a respiratory disease for old people.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidence? No, it's just weak old people smoking when they shouldn't. But also, it is what it is. So, but my point was is how are you ever gonna? My point was, and I remembered it wonderfully, is how are you ever gonna take the masks away from people? Get it so that, okay, guys, masks are not required anymore. Because like there will be businesses now who, if they're a private business, they might. Like if I wanted to go to Broadway Cafe, a left-leaning establishment here in Saskatoon, are they gonna have compulsory masks forever now? Like you're fucking walking into Little Chinatown, like a separate area where they have their own rules. I don't like that, especially when it comes to a political thing like masks, because I just don't like it. They've mixed medical and politics too much, and now the misinformation has gotten too much, because it's just gotten too crazy, dude. Because to me, I guess everybody thinks differently, but to me, as a pragmatic thinker, I do have a tough time believing that the fabric, I don't care how much technology you put in the fibers, none of it works. Mm-hmm. It can't. It does, in terms of, not absolute. It does, it works that little bit, but it doesn't actually work. Like, it's never going to be full. Mm-hmm. So what the fuck are we doing here? So that's a few points of my opinions on masks a little bit, especially as we get into the third variant, and it's at the point where everybody who has it doesn't even know that they have it, even obese people. So what's crazy too is the denial. You see the denial in the mainstream media too, where why isn't there, they kind of mention it here and there, oh, don't be fat because you'll die, but they don't put it plainly like that. Like, it pisses me off that they're not calling it what it is, Well,
if you call it what it is, you'll get cancelled.
Exactly. Well, guess what? That's what we do here. So, you know what I'm saying? And it's me doing it. So, but yeah, that is really how I feel about it, because I do feel that I think we're in an age of the rise of individualized media, number one. So I think I can get away with it. And I do think that right now, because that rise, it all is fluid, it all works together. That rise is happening for the very reason of things like this need to be said, but they're not being said. Because of that strong reach, the reach being extended, the technology being clarified of communication of, oh, hey, you went wrong here. It is saved in the data centers. Here it is. Like, it's become more absolute. It's become where you can't wipe it away. So canceling is easier to do. And so for that reason, you need to have a new form of media where you can have people that are willing to say this type of stuff and not be tied to a corporation whose certain types of ads will have problems with that. Because it all comes back to advertising and money, right? But because there's advertisements that work for this type of media as well. And I think it will slowly grow. And it will become each its own thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, that's a little bit on individualized media. I think it's really a really important thing that's up and coming with podcasts and all of that. So I was going to show you my pen. Canadian Talk pen.
Oh shit.
Yeah, hey, and you should sign the bench right there. For every episode I'm going to do a thing. Just initial the bench. And then we're all set into place.
I could do that after as soon as I move this thing, but yeah.
Sure.
Cool.
Are you good at pen spinning?
Pen spin. You know, I've never learned how to do it. I just know it's like you just kind of twirl it around your finger.
Yeah.
But I could never.
You can't do it either?
I can't understand how people do it.
Let me see it for a second. I think I can. I know this one where there's some people where they do it up there. Like I know how to do that one where it's up on the top there and you hit it with your finger and spin it up on there. But I can't. Oh, and I can do some of the rolling with poker chips. But I can't do anything with a pen. Some people, man, it's insane. They're flipping it around like a baton.
They get really good at it.
I'm so jealous of people that can do that, dude. So jealous of people that can do that.
I'll even you were doing it with the poker chips. I can't do that with poker chips.
Yeah.
I just kind of just play with it.
Yeah, it takes time, hey. It's weird how everything takes time. Just like fucking walking. That's why you gotta leave your house every day and do an hour of exercise like they've been telling us since 1995 in the little campaigns of do 60 minutes of movement every day or your fucking body will seize up. Fuck, dude. Coronavirus is so under my skin. I hate it so much. So what else? Lots of it's been going on. So we haven't even really talked to you about any funny. We got cattled on this coronavirus thing too, and we'll come back to it. We get the gist. Price seems to be he's open to everything just like I am, but also a little fed up just like everybody should be. And we don't know what to do, and we really want somebody who has the damn power. We all want this. Is somebody to go out there and publish some real numbers with some new words that's going to make us feel better now. Like enough with the deadliness. We got to call it what it is, which is, hey, and when you call it what it is, I've just got things coming across my head here. I just want to bring them up because people will forget about this. Dr. Drew and Dr. Phil are martyrs of the coronavirus situation. When you call it like it is, like Dr. Phil, they each have their own. I'll use Dr. Phil's example. He goes on a very small media thing and goes, hey guys, like you're more likely to die walking into your own pool and drowning than you are from coronavirus. So don't worry too much. He goes out publicly and he says that. And the numbers support that. Just so you know, if you want to know it from an engineer, I'm not a mathematician, but I might as well be. I'm top of my class in math in engineering. So I could have been a mathematician. I'm not. I'm bragging. Sorry. So that's how I fucking feel about that, And so anyway, let's see what we got on the old phone here before we come back and talk to Price a little bit more about what he's been up to and what give us the update from his country of origin rather. So what do we got here on my lists? Let's read a couple of these dialogue and intrigue humor that I got written down, and then we'll go to podcast content. Because we're approaching, damn it, it really sucks that we lost that beginning. Because I was talking for a good 10 minutes before you came in here. Yeah, it's too bad. Folks out there, anybody who's still tuning in, yeah, there will be a lost. I'm probably going to just chop it out. Honestly, the whole beginning 15 minutes where I was warming up. All I was talking about was my pipes that are leaking. And street work that the government workers were doing in front of my house. There was a bit of a stinky smell. In my house, and it just means that my vents that vent my plumbing aren't perfectly sealed, which is fine. You usually won't smell anything, but they had the big trucks and they were, because it's such a hot day, they were hydrovacuuming out the pipes and created a bit of a smell. I was worried, and then I wasn't worried. And that was what I was talking about. So anyway, though, I'm cutting out that entire beginning part. So yeah, if you clicked ahead, we are at episode 41. I'm happy to be back in the studio. We've missed. This is so late in the episode to say this, but maybe you clicked forward. We have missed 2 weeks of the last episodes. I knew that Brandon was potentially going to be able to do an episode, so I was building up to this. I wanted this to be a really good episode. I did one like the week before last, but it's also been like minus 50. So it's been kind of tricky to get in here. Like this thing works in minus 50. It's fine in here, but like, you sit just a little bit over there. And I knew, like let's say last week, I knew that you would have gotten too cold.
It was minus 30, minus 40, like it's...
Yeah. Like we should be tagging up some wood onto this, but, it's not like we'll go for too much longer. So, but yeah, anyway, I'm going to cut out that entire beginning part. Let's go to the list and see what kind of jokes we've got hanging around in the list. You know what sucks, dude? Is and this is for anybody who, you might be a follower. I fucking lost my harmonica. I need to buy another one or something like that. Have you seen, it's like in a little black case long, just like harmonica size, and it's got a little zipper. If you see it sitting anywhere, because I may have set it down, just let me know.
Not a problem.
Yeah, it's fucking missing. But harmonicas, $30, and I want it that one too. It's a D harmonica. I want to get a C harmonica,
Ooh.
but I want to have an A B C D E harmonica.
Yeah,
All
you
five.
want the set.
Yeah. So it's no big deal if I misplace one, but I'm a little bummed about it because I'd like to play a little riff because you haven't heard me play ever,
I don't think so now.
and I've been getting a little better.
Ooh.
It really sucks. Like that's too bad. Okay, anyway, let's see what kind of embarrassing shit I've got written down here. Let's do this. Let's throw in a good old Canadian bit of poison. Let's you want to have another drink of your beer or whatever?
I think I'm good, but thank
You're
you.
good? Okay. Producer's good. He's staying straight, which is what he should do. Much appreciated, man. Much appreciated being here too. For today. Thanks for coming. I reference you every now and then in random podcasts because it gives me more legitimacy. Makes me seem like I have a producer when I don't really. You know what I'm saying? But like you're kind of a guest producer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna throw in some poison here, and then we're gonna read some of my shit that I've got written down
Cool.
that I think of, and I think it's good, so I write it down, and we'll see what it is. Oh, and I branded it. Did you see that? That's my...
Oh shit.
Yeah, where did I put my brander? Oh yeah, this thing right here.
Oh, that's cool as hell.
It's cooled off. Yeah, it's got a Canadian leaf. It's got the website on there. And
cool
it
as
works, dude. It works good. It works really good.
I like that.
Yeah, you can set it there. Cool. So, just quick little words in between here. What do you think of, like, you like in the studio?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of come along. In terms of, I know since you've left, I probably haven't put any more wood on the walls or, like,
Yeah, but
there's
the
probably no
outside-
major changes. Yeah, on the outside, it's because getting the permits completed, I needed to do all the outside stuff. So, and there just kept on being one more thing, you know? And fucking painting, I had to do like 3 coats to get it to look, yeah.
Hey,
So-
it's all done now. At
Yeah.
least I think.
On the outside it is.
Mm.
But so much to do on the inside.
I was saying it could be like a forever project, you know?
Exactly. Because I would like it to be, I don't want to take the shortcut and do any plywood. I want it to all be proper timber.
Yeah.
So that there's awesome like acoustics in here and shit. So that, for this and I want to have there's going to be a dance studio upstairs. It's going to be all one big floor, and I want it to, have good acoustics. And this shit, when you're dancing around, it has good acoustics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by acoustics? Or
Yeah,
you
like
probably
it'll-
don't have the same kind of training in that as I do. I feel like in terms of structural acoustics.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's simple yet complicated. Like people like to think, man, when I was young, it's the same freaking way. Everything was simple, just because you hadn't actually done it yet. You know? Do I have any shit on my face? No.
Nah, you're
No,
good.
not that you can notice. Yeah, dude. When you're young, you really think that everything's easy until you get a real eye opener in life. Life is such an eye opener. Like so far, and I don't know if everybody is this lucky, but so far each new decade of my life has been my favorite decade.
Really?
Like when I was under 10, I was loving it. When I was between my teens, I was loving it. And now my 20s are my new favorite decade of my life.
You think
know?
you'll feel like that in your 30s?
I don't know. I really hear bad things about the 30s. Yeah. I put too big of a dip in. So, forgot to plug in the computer. Unreal. Unreal. Okay, so let's go into some content here. This is what you guys pay for. This is the stuff that comes straight out of my imagination as a comedian. Requires a lot of vulnerability to do this type of thing. So that's why we're here. That's why we have plenty of intoxicants to allow it to come out.
Nice and a
This
nice
is how
flow.
artists do it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's see what we got in here. God damn it! I put in too big of a dip. I can't even talk with this thing in there, or it just muffles me up. You know what? I think I'll get some forgiveness from listeners who are listening to this. Baseball players, fucking mostly. I think I'll get some sympathy. Okay, there we go. We're all set. Okay. So this is the dialogue and intrigue humor folder. If there's anything that pops out. This one I thought of in the shower. I really like this one. So if you're not schizophrenic, technically, you are a person who would have a tendency to like a totalitarian style of government, because technically that would mean that your thoughts are singular, meaning that your leader should be singular.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's a huge reductionist point of view. It's a big jump to make.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, if in your own brain, if you're not able to listen to multiple voices at once, how can you claim that you want, dang it. You know, sometimes what I hate about improv is that sometimes part of what I want to say will be good, and then I'll start saying something, and halfway through doing it, I won't like it anymore. That's when I guess you gotta try to deflect, eh? I didn't like where I was going with that. What I'm saying is that, like, not that, because I understand that multiple voices make sense even if they're not just in your head, but, like, I guess technically in terms of individual politics. God damn it, I don't like it anymore. Fuck! Okay, hold on. I don't like that one. You like freezing now?
No, I'm okay.
You're good? Okay, yeah, it's kind of, at the end, it starts to really put off. You know, when there's no flame, you know what you do? You close the flute a little bit.
Is that
For the audience out there, I just closed the flute a little bit. That's the opener on the thing, and it should. Oh yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah.
So
now heat is fucking radiating out of there. Yeah. There we go. Okay, we got it. I should have did that a long time ago. I'm not a fucking expert. I actually only recently just saw that. Sadly, I've been using this thing for like a year and a half, and only like a year ago I saw that on a tutorial, and I was like, oh, of course. Eventually, when the smoke isn't really a thing, you close your flute, it keeps in the heat. Like, I can't believe I didn't think of it myself. There's a little tutorial for anybody who's watching this because you like fires. God damn it. Too big of a dip. It's got me all contaminated. Okay. This one is a bit. This one is a bit for on stage. And it has to do with specific... I've told you about my parents before, right?
A little bit.
About how they're gay.
Oh, they are?
I didn't tell you about that?
No.
Okay, we should probably go into that then, dude. So, I was raised by two females. I didn't tell you about this? I've never told you about this?
I always assume you had, like, just mom and dad, you know?
No, yeah, I don't. I don't. My conception, and this has been introduced on many other podcasts already here, but we'll reiterate it for this podcast. God damn it, now I feel like I got to take the dip out because I got a lot to talk about. You know what though? Oh, this cup will make it easier and less gross. Okay, there we go. Just so you know, folks, my studio has a concrete floor. That's why I spit on the floor. And in the fire room, it just basically dries up anyway, and we wash it with chemical washes on the floor. So it's all set up for this. So, in case you're wondering. So the interesting part about myself, I will tell you about it. Because comedy really, dude, one thing I've been learning more as I've been studying it a lot more, because I've been trying to work myself into being able to do it in a live fashion. You know what I'm saying? I like this. I think this is better. People create content like this. I like it better. I think there's more potential for content like this. So it's why I steer away from stage anyway. But I've been trying to adapt myself so that I could potentially... This is way better. This is way better. Now that I don't have to spit on the floor. Okay, we're fixed, folks. We're back on track. I've been trying to adapt myself. And guess what? Unfortunately, I learned what the trick is, kind of, from this show that I've been studying. It's a show... It's like an open mic show. It's the biggest open mic... You know what an open mic is?
Yeah.
It's the biggest open mic... How old are you again?
I'm 24.
24. It's the biggest open mic in the world. And, so they have a little panel of judges that are comedians. They bring up new comics, and they have them on, and it really teaches you the raw aspects of what to do in stand up, and a lot of what it is, unfortunately, dude, it's talking about yourself. Yeah, so like, because when you're on stage, it's the best content to draw from. It's stuff that you won't forget. It's stuff that people want to hear. When you're up on stage and you're the star, all of a sudden you're the center of attention. All that people want to hear about is usually self-deprecative things to do with yourself.
Really?
It's what it is. It's what you do. It's really, really what you do. So I've been trying to even talk more about myself, but it's hard. That's why I like having you here. Like, this thing becomes 100 times more valuable. You should really bundle up, dude. So I'm feeling anxious because I know you're getting cold.
I guess if I feel cool,
You'll do it. You'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Just feel free to leave at any time. You know what I'm saying? To put on some
like a socks,
trousers.
all
The
that
producer,
stuff.
just so you guys know how awesomely Canadian this is. Even though he's not Canadian, but he's wearing shorts in our winter weather. But we have a pretty nice day today. It's plus 2 degrees Celsius out of nowhere. So.
Oh, it's not good for those kind of days.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, a lot of the comedy this is great, man. We have 50 minutes of raw, continuous content here. This has been good. This has been really good. Why I like having you here, though, yeah, is because it doesn't seem as narcissistic, but mostly, this is just talking about yourself. It's refining stories about yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it can be good. That's what you have to do, though, to make yourself interesting enough to be on stage in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really selfish art, but it's like also, this is what's weird about it. Let me tell you, the juxtaposition of comedy that I like so much is, while it's so narcissistic, it is both extremely narcissistic and extremely altruistic at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love about it. It's the coming together of those two things, which is, it creates what I think is the most perfect art ever. Just like music, though, like, because to some people, they want music, and to some people they want different lyrics at all times. They don't want to hear repeating of the same thing. They want new thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, that's what it is. That's what it is. So yeah. Dang it, lost it a little bit, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I love the intersection of but I was explaining why. Because you're talking about yourself, it's narcissistic, and then because though, the goal of talking about yourself is to get others to feel good. The goal of talking about yourself is to get others to feel good. It makes it altruistic, purely. You know, because you're up there making fun of yourself to make others feel better and laugh. So it's hard. You can't. So somebody who was to ever say comedy is narcissistic, or comedy is like that, they're so wrong, they don't even understand it. Because like the reason I even do this, and I've repeated this again, though I'm refining this thought. The reason I do this is because I was an engineer for a while, and I didn't like the feeling that it gave me. It made me feel special. Oh, I get to sit here all day and get paid more money than anybody else makes. You know. But I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like it because I wasn't helping anybody. To be honest, dude, not only was I not helping anybody, my job at several of the times was, I think I've told you this, was insurance work, where I was helping people who didn't have insurance and they had house fires and house floods. So I'm sitting there ruining their lives. My workers are doing work that they should be able to do, but because they live in modern society, they don't know how to fix their own houses. I'm doing it and stealing all the money they've made in their entire life. That is essentially, I'm the center of it. Because you've heard of people who have their house burned down or flood and it ruins their whole life.
Yeah.
I was in that.
Ooh.
I felt it. That's why I do this now. And every other comedian, dude, whether they know it or not, they're doing this to help other people, to make them feel good. So it's an extremely altruistic art, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a little philosophy about comedy. And let's go back to my comedy that I write for you folks, as I just said. Oh, and this was a stand-up bit, so I guess I was precursoring it. Oh, and I was talking about my parents. By the way, I'm not gay. I'm not gay at all. My parents are, though, which is fine. And we can talk about that lots too. We'll talk about that a little bit. But this is the bit. I'll say the bit before we talk about it anymore, because I heard it, and it was an adaptation to a bit that I heard from a different guy who's in a similar situation to me. He comes on stage and he goes, my mom's a little gay. I know in the gender fluid society we live in, my mom's a little gay. My other mom, though, she's really gay. It's a bit. So essentially it's very simple, but that's how stage bits have to be, though. You know, it's just those in succession, fucking bang, 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 bang. You know, it's fucking hard to do. Oh, and I got lots more here. Okay, I'm gonna actually read some though. That was too long of a precursor to that bit. I'm gonna read some out here. Okay, so the problem with predictions is, as you approach infinity, I believe that instincts are a precursor to humanity. So if your ability to, and I was using this as a critique to one of my friends who I think is too critical. As your predictability approaches infinity, you forget that humanity can exist, because instincts are a precursor to humanity. So if you're predicting everything that everybody's going to do, eventually your predictions will become purely negative. So that's why time is so valuable. So that's a bit I have written there that I'm trying to get into a longer thing, because it's very optimistic about human nature. Schizophrenic bit. Oh, geez. I mean, now would be a good time if you wanted to take a break, because I'm just kind of reading stuff. If you wanted to take a quick break, dude, because I'm even getting a little chilly. You've got to be chilly in shorts. You've got to be chilly in shorts, dude.
And I don't know, like, my toes are just chilly, but I mean, it's not like, you know, it's not to say like, oh my god, like I feel like it's frostbite.
Okay, then let's hammer through it then, and let's get it done, and we'll call it at an hour today.
Cool.
That sounds good. Because this list is shorter than I thought. This is more lesbian parents bits. This would be a bit about my conception and how my genetics, because it's weird to think, dude. This is something that I think about, and this is what the bit is basically. But I'm just gonna open it up in a conversation way, because this is what I would try to do anyway. It's weird how to think that before I was born, right, there was a sperm donation, and then I was frozen. But I believe they freeze it. So there was one period of time where me, in a sperm form, was frozen inside of a fridge, and I find that to be so weird. Like, how doesn't that damage it? You know? That's crazy.
There's a science behind it, but I mean, I see what you're saying though. Like, it's just because you're just there.
Yeah,
it's like you're frozen in time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I've got my other list here, but before I do that, I'll just talk a bit about my parents, because I was telling you about that. Yeah, I was raised by two women. I thought I had told you about that already before, but it was a bit of a weird upbringing at times, especially because I was totally normal. I think I had a very normal sexuality, attracted to really two moms. Like I was hyper attracted to women. Really, it was really strange. So it's kind of like in my situation, it's the opposite. But I also have a sister, and so she was also raised by two women, and she's also straight so far. So it's interesting, you know, because we have gay parents, but yet neither of us are like that. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it was a good upbringing, pretty unique at times. But I never really had any real problems with bullying, none that were severe. I always played sports, so nobody would really mess with me, because I was kind of like luckily I was the big fish in a small pond, I guess. So nobody. Sometimes older kids would, because they would just be naturally bigger at certain phases of life.
It's like the 4th grader with the 5th graders, that kind of stuff. So
yes. Like sometimes in the old 6th grade, you'd get it from the 8th grader and that type of stuff. But mostly it was nothing really. So anyway, decent upbringing. They did a good job. I don't think that it affected me in any way too much. Okay. But I don't know. It's really up for others to speculate, not me, because I just live.
Yeah.
And I feel happy. I feel fine. But yeah, sometimes. I don't know though. It feels weird because I wasn't born in the same way that everybody else was. You know? Yeah, it's very. So that's something super unique about me that I guess I was holding out on you for. I don't know why. I think I was leading into it on one of our last interviews. I was asking you about a school you went to, a private school, and then I was asking, hey, was there gay dudes there or something because you went to an all-male school or something?
Yep.
I think I was segueing into it, and I was like, hey, I'll leave it for the next time. That must have been what my thought process was. But anyway, so that's how that was involved in my life. But yeah, it seems fine now. Like, one of my moms is good with fixing cars and shit, so she's like kind of like a dad. So it's interesting,
Yeah.
But yeah, never really had any real male influence in my life other than that. No mentors early on. It kind of left all the doors open in a way. So I didn't see it as a negative. I saw it as like a infinite opportunity type thing. I guess that's the way that I dealt with it. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it might be said that my sister didn't deal with it quite as well early on, but she dealt with it. So how can you really rank it? As long as you dealt with it, you moved on. Yeah. It is what it is, So yeah, and we're losing our fire. We're starting to see our own breath. We have created an hour here of good content. Anybody who's managed to stick around for this long-winded talk about coronavirus and updates. Let's see what else we got on the podcast content list here, because this is stuff that I know there is to talk about, because I know that there's some current event stuff going on right now. Because I know that with the Neil Young thing, he recently just boycotted Spotify. Did you hear about that?
Really?
In a combative way against Rogan. So Neil Young is a pretty big left-wing a musician. And this is actually what got me thinking about how music is different than podcast. Because music is more, the people on the left like music, and people on the right like that more podcasty talking as opposed to music. So it turns out that there's some rivalries forming. Like Neil Young said, "Hey, I'm not gonna have any of my music on Spotify anymore as long as Joe Rogan is on Spotify."
Wow.
That happened. So that's happening. That's a current event that's going on, which is kind of crazy. That's my opinion on it. Really, is I think it comes down to a left versus right thing again.
So let me ask this: why did he do that?
Exactly, yeah. I feel it's in a combative way because he's trying to combat Rogan, because Rogan is going very heavily anti-vax. I don't know if you know much about this, but he's going heavily anti-vax. He hasn't been vaxxed. He's canceling comedy shows in Canada, like places that he can't go because of vax stuff. Of course, he doesn't like masks and any of that because he's anti-vax. If you're anti-vax, you're probably also anti-mask, usually. So
sorry, what's the musician's name?
Neil Young. And and he's pretty big. Like, you may not know him very much, but he's like very big.
So why is he?
Everybody loves him. Like, and he has some of the most biggest catalog of a lot of artists. And then why is he?
I'm just trying to like wrap my head around it. Like, why? Because then you're forcing Spotify to make a choice.
Yep.
Why do that?
To try to limit Rogan's voice. I guess Neil thinks he must be thinking that Rogan's getting too powerful, or his decision to, because you know what Rogan's been doing. Hey, like, he was open on everything, and he just got that big Spotify deal.
Yeah.
So I guess somebody's trying to go after him on the left. That's all you can do, really, because he's dominating. He's starting to dominate.
And like, for me, my thought process is like, I'm sure it's affecting him in some way, but it's like, let's say if you're taking your music off it, like I said, you're forcing Spotify to make a choice. Why do that? Because then it comes back to you're trying to make people think. Is like,
well, Neil Young is very, very, very old. Like, on death's door old.
Really?
So I think that really it's coming from his camp, and they're trying to pick an artist who's big enough and resilient enough where, hey, everybody can start to hate you, and you'll still be okay. So they're picking somebody of power to go against it. Really is what they're doing, dude. That's what it is. It's a political thing. And so that's why I bring it up, because I see it as very relevant and very political and affecting people that I consume media from. So that's one thing. So let's go to some more current events. Funny skit idea. So I plan to make skits in the future. I've got all those crates. I want to do that crate challenge. I'm going to be so late to it, but I can't do it till the summer, right? Because you need grass.
Yeah.
Because they have to be on grass for it to be legit. But I have the crates. So I'm doing skits anyway. Funny skit idea that I'll do. So this is me publishing it so that somebody else. Why aren't we recording? How long has that been up? Oh, it just stopped. It just stopped. Okay.
oh, there's probably like a time limit on it where it's like after like, let's say like 45 minutes.
Looks like we got 22 minutes left. It'll just be, yeah, you're right. It's running out of space, but we got 22 minutes left. And it must have stopped to preserve a little bit of space. It's just checking. Hey, you still there? Okay, so skits. Funny skit idea. Go around misgendering people who are obviously their normal gender. So like a 50-year-old farmer, just call him ma'am. You know, and I think that would be funny, and it would be like, I think that would be funny. Funny for a skit. Like, you know how there's those guys who do the skits where they just like, it's them pranking people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what else we got here? So this one is a bit again. So I once heard that there was a bomb threat at a local Target. I thought it was a little on the nose.
Yeah, I like that one.
Bingo! There we go. If a woman's primary function is love, what is men's? It used to be protection and security. Now society has hijacked that. So what else must it be? You know, that's more of a premise idea. Because it really has been taken away from men in a way, you know? That aspect of life. What do men, even in modern society, even provide anymore? If they're not providing money, what do they even provide in the nuclear family? And this, I guess, is a question that connects to the stuff we were talking about before with the gay family, right? That's a question that I have. That might be because of my upbringing that I have that question. I don't actually know what they provide other than protection.
Well, that's if you see men as providers.
Well, I think both parents, when you come to the nuclear family situation, I think both parents become providers.
Yeah.
And then the mom provides, I guess, love and money too. But yeah, I guess all that premise has to do with, I guess, is it's something to I probably need more there. It has something to. I'm trying to lead into something that I guess builds up men's purpose for the future, to tell them what it is. You know, because I'm having trouble figuring out what it is. So I think that's a good premise to build on. Yeah, it's nice to be out of the -50 weather. Yeah. Good enough, man. All right, so that's good enough for the list for today. That one didn't seem like very much. It's because I'm going to save a lot of it because we're already at a nice deep podcast that I'm going to have to splice some videos together here. Well, we're going to maybe hit it again next week, maybe, and I appreciate you coming out, though. So, yeah, I appreciate everybody who's listened. This was Canadian Talk episode 41 with me and our temporary producer, Price. That is all for now. I thought I had more current events on my fucking list. I know there's some more current events going on right now, other than Corona and Joe Rogan. It's royal family stuff. I covered that on the last podcast. Is there anything else going on in the world right now? Anything come to mind for you?
There's a volcano that blew up in Tongo. I think that's the name of the country.
Volcano?
Yeah.
That's fucking rank.
The whole I think the island. I don't like.
Jeez.
Again, my geography's off, but I don't know if it's an island or if it's
Is it kind of Central America-ish or somewhere else?
I think it's in Africa.
In Africa, okay. Well, I guess we wish them well.
Yeah, whole island's just covered with ash.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. What else? Any type of...
I mean, Ukraine and Russia, they're about to go to war.
Oh, yeah, the Ukraine-Russia stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. Okay, so for next episode, we're going to have Price back, and we're going to talk more about Trinidad and Tobago, and what's going on there, because he knows that's his country. We're going to talk more about Corona and my thoughts on it versus his thoughts on it. We're going to talk about we left out a bunch of stuff because Trump is starting to be vocal again, and Biden recently had some weird speeches and stuff. So we will talk about some of that highfalutin federal stuff on next episode, and what might happen with Russia, because I know that Russia and Ukraine right now they're very tense. Russia might invade Ukraine, and what are we going to do about it? That is a big question that's looming around a lot of people's thoughts right now outside of the let's laugh world. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and next week hopefully we won't have any computer or video issues. So I hope this was good for you guys to watch, and that is all. Canadian Talk out. Alrighty. Here we are. We got a roaring fire. We got some beautiful weather. Welcome for episode 41 of Canadian Talk Podcast. Music has already played, but now would be the time when if I was to edit it. You know what? Maybe this time I'll edit it. I'll cue in the music right after I do that, because I feel like right after that first intro, that would be when the music should be. So we should have a friend of the show showing up today in a little bit. He was on episode 8, 6 through 9, I think. He's he's my sit-in laugh track producer. That's what he is. He helps me out if I need a Google search. He should be here. We haven't even discussed what we're gonna call him yet, so we might discuss that today. But yeah, it's a pretty low energy day because like it went from minus 40, minus 50. Now we're at +2 today. So, that type of a temperature change takes a lot out of a guy. So anyway, yeah, we're in Saskatchewan, Canada. Also there was this morning I woke up, it wasn't too bad, but then right around 10 a.m. there was this sewer truck that was turning up the lines, just because it's a warm day. Right, so they're like, hey, let's clean out these lines, like whatever the city does to the sewers, and I was getting a bit of a smell in my house. I was like, oh, what the heck is going on? I thought there was something wrong with my house, but just them city workers doing what they should do, so that put me in a good mood. But you know, I have a pipe repair that I did. Oh great, this should just be like tradesman banter here. But anyway, more to do with me. I have a pipe repair that I am right after this. I'm gonna go and check on it. So I've got my fingers crossed. You know, as much as that's kind of stupid. So the way what it is the sink. So like I'm pretty good with pipes and all that type of install. Like so I know what I'm doing. So what's going on here is we have a pretty old sink. It's a stainless steel sink, and this fire is really roaring up. It's beautiful. And the problem is that it's a direct connect underneath. So there's threads on there, and the threads are unfortunately rusted so much so that they've actually cracked upward, and like I've ran out of thread to be able to attach a direct attachment onto there, because it's a back seal type where it seals back on a rubber gasket. It doesn't actually seal at the threads. So, and I think we have spectators wearing shorts. That's pretty ballsy. So I'm recording already. It's just set up so like you can just sit right there if you want. Be prepared for the Googling. And there's the whole shot, so you can see what's going on. You know, if you're on it or not. Yeah. So I was just talking about my plumbing repair, but that's not interesting because we got a person in the studio for the first time in a while.
Bye.
Yeah, that's you. So what are we gonna call you other than the Googler and the sitter? Like we talked before, we told you like DP or something.
You can just call me Price.
Price. I like that. Oh yeah, I think yeah. I said that. This fire's flaming too, so because I wanted to make sure you were warm, especially now that I see you're wearing fucking shorts.
So it's 2 degrees.
Yeah, it's a nice day today. Real
really
nice.
is.
So by the way, that's your mic. So if you and there's a stool if you want. But by the way, like that's it'll pick you up even over there. But if you want to be heard clearly, if you actually have something to say, just put it right up to your mouth. On that table there, just slide it over to your edge because you got lots of slack here, or whatever you want to do. But yeah, I got everything sorted out, dude. It's been a long journey, getting it all like. So let's just say starting up. By the way, sorry to any viewers watching. Just we got somebody in studio, so I'm going to talk to them a little bit. This is technical stuff that I've said before, but like, dude, even just like getting it set up so that both mics work, without having like one of those physical things where you plug into mics and then you can convert it into one input, because a laptop can only take one input for the most part.
Okay.
So just like figuring shit like that out, figuring out cameras. Oh my god, this fire, dude! That's not the first time. That happens all the time. And just it has been such a headache. But like, good learning curve. Oh yeah, and I brought you this espresso stout from. You can have it or not. I'll be happy to drink it, but
I appreciate that.
yeah. That's I'm not drinking them because I like them, but I don't know.
Is it in case you don't like? Well, I know you said you like them, but like.
Yeah, I like it. I like the darks, but I figured it'd be better for you to have because I only had like one left, so I figured it'd be better for you to have.
I appreciate that. That's
yeah. Oh, what else, dude? I had a story I was gonna queue up to tell you about. What else? So before we get to that, was there anything else? Yeah, how I get over that not having a physical mixer thing is I have a virtual mixer that works on here. Fucking converts it, and then I record on a separate thing.
If it works,
it works. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we'll talk more about you a little bit too, maybe. Just but I had a story I wanted to tell you about this weird guy that I met. He was a tenant, of course. So I wanted to tell you about him.
What's his name?
Okay, so I'll precursor by. So you see this shirt?
Yeah.
Canadian Talk. It's like that's like a standard thing though. You can kind of pull that off the internet or something like that. Got the fucking tag there.
Ooh. That's nice.
Yeah, it's got like tags and everything. Another tag with a picture that I guess was pulled from my Facebook from back in the time. I don't know. So I had a tenant who he made shirts and stuff. He was okay. So I'll be more descriptive. I'll start from the beginning. So what was his name? I wouldn't say his real name, but his name was. So he was a Canadian Native American. His name was. I can't remember, but let's say his name was Colby or something.
Colby?
Yeah, we'll call him Colby.
Okay, yeah.
Colby, and he was Native American. And he did branding, and he made like logos and stickers and shit. I'm not really entirely sure, but he gave off a lot of sketchy vibes, but he seemed nice enough. Yeah. Right? And so I rented a room to him. He was in the small room at the time. Eric, you know Eric?
Oh yeah.
He was still in the big room, I believe. And and then we had a program. There we go. We'll get her going again. We're going again. Yep. We had a little pop-up that shut off the video. Good thing I saw that. See, that's another thing that happens is checking everything.
Just making sure
it's something that comes over time. Yeah, and all of a sudden now I can't stop doing it. Have you ever seen the Take Your Shoes Off podcast?
I have not.
It's super popular, like millions of views. One of the top 5, like most popular in the world.
Is it on Spotify?
So, yeah, check it out. But he does the same thing. He's got OCD with his fucking, because he sets up everything. I'm totally on the same thing. So anyway, the 3 guys upstairs, I was getting hints that the middle guy room was weird. This guy room, he's making shirts, but he hadn't made anything for me. I asked him, hey, maybe make me some shirts, but I meant like make me 20 cheap. Like he went way above and beyond. So this is what happened. The middle guy room ended up he did meth. This is the first guy I've ever had. Did I tell you this story at all yet, or a little bit?
I remember you telling me a little bit.
A little bit, but I'll tell it anyway, just for. So he did meth, and we'll call him John, that's not his name. It's not his full name.
Colby and John.
Yeah, Colby and John.
Yeah.
And so John starts doing meth. He's a weird guy, and so I kick him out because he's got a few days before he leaves, because I find out he's doing meth. He's acting a little weird. He's weird. He's been telling weird stories about, like, sex stories about having sex with prostitutes and shit. Starts getting weird. He was hanging out with me and one of the tenants in the yard this one time. He just starts bawling his eyes out of nowhere. Yes, this was the story that I told you about the meth guy a little bit, but these are 2 stories coming together to do with the shirt.
Yeah.
So it's a fuller story. So that guy, the shirt maker guy, thinks that the meth guy, I don't actually know what happened. The meth guy might have did something weird, something gay. So this is what happened. The shirt guy starts thinking that this guy is gay or something, and he's like super homophobic. So he's like super homophobic. It's weird. You run into weird people. Or maybe he was just trying to get out, like leave or something. I don't know. I don't presume to know. But he sent me a scathing homophobic type message about this guy as to why he was leaving. So I don't know what John did. But so that's what happened. And so he's gone though. So he leaves because oh my God, this guy's, and he's using slurs because he's let's call him, he's not mentally handicapped, but he's not intellectually gifted. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So he's in, he's just sending out texts, this F, I don't really say that word. Do you say that word?
No.
The F-A-G word?
No.
So he's using that as an excuse. He's gone. He leaves behind me 1 shirt. And I wanted a bunch, right? And I was going to pay him for it. But instead, he just leaves behind this shirt without saying anything. But not only did he accuse him of being, homosexual, he was accusing everybody in the whole house. Eric, me, everybody. So it was weird. And but anyway, he made me this nice shirt, which is really funny, really weird.
Well, you got a nice memento on it.
Yeah. But it makes me weird every time because I think of him in his weird, I guess, chaotic mood swings.
Yeah.
Because like it came out of nowhere, dude. What kind of I know the story doesn't really have a hook, but like just what kind of a person? So him. And I guess unless you're trying to. No. Did it go into an update? Oh, we're not plugged in. We're not plugged in. Damn it, dude. Fuck. I can splice it together. It's no big deal, but that's gonna make things more fucking annoying.
I could not. Ooh, just be careful with your foot.
Oh yeah. Oh man. I didn't even check to make sure I was plugged in, dude. Gosh. Well, this is still picking up audio, so there will be lower. I'll splice it together. It'll be funny, dude.
You could do like a blooper kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
shit like this happen.
For sure. I'm gonna spice it together. I can't believe that we had the video cancel out and we had the computer shut off.
I see it as like, all right,
Hilarious.
if that cancels out, you know.
Yeah.
Then let's hope nothing else would cancel
Yeah.
out for the rest of it.
Yeah. Oh, we're having like an ash raid in here.
Oh,
I kind of like it. You see the ashes in the air?
ooh.
I don't know. It's the ambiance for the thing. Look at how quickly this thing fires up, dude. I love it.
You got an SSD in it.
I think it does. It doesn't have a full SSD, but it does have something similar. Oh, look at that, right? Like we were just shut off. So there's my voice meter, and then there's my Audacity. What else is popping open? Oh, Spotify, Steam, Spotify, all this other shit will pop open. Discord. Hard to keep your focus when you're doing this kind of shit, you know? Okay, it's all set already. And we also have a website, Stephanjackson.ca, where you can find a back catalog of all our episodes. And we're also on YouTube, where you can find the video versions.